I think it's probably one of my favorite films we've made in India.
Junaid, can you single out one scene of your dad?
Actually, we have very few scenes together in the sense where we're in the same space. Most of it happens over the phone.
वाह क्या scene है? Junaid, can you single out one scene of your dad, which is your number one? वाह क्या scene है?
Oh, good God. His crying scene in Rang De Basanti is very good. He doesn't like it at all. He was most upset. But I thought that was very good.
That crying scene in अकेले हम अकेले
Yes, that is also. I think he's a good crier.
Let me ask you 3 movies of his which have meant a lot to you.
I think Rang De Basanti was the movie that I think it's probably one of my favorite films we've made in India. But I think it's also got a lot to do with the time that it came out. I think I was 13 or 14. I was just starting to understand the world. So I think that's definitely the film for me that really stayed with me. And it's actually interesting because some people who I meet who are slightly older than I am, like maybe 5 or 7 years, for them that film is Dil Chahta Hai because it came out just when they were in college and starting to make those friends for life.
Yeah, I think it's that moment when you watch
yeah,
it,
so I think a lot of films is also when it comes to you, at what point in time it comes to you. But 2 more. I think Talash was, I think, one of his finest performances. And I think I really enjoyed 3 Idiots also.
Okay.
There, 3. Or actually, I would say Andaz Apna.
There's a lot of speculation वो फिर से बनेगी. आपको क्या लगता है अगर बनी तो कौन कर सकता है वो 2 रोल सलमान के और आमिर के?
I think they should only do it. अगर बनी तो I think they should only do it.
You said in one of your earlier interviews that you are very craft heavy, and I think your dad also is. So how different are you from him? I mean, what's the difference in approaching a scene or in approaching any project?
Well, I think there are lots of similarities in how actually we approach.
Interesting.
I always connect more with the story than the character per se. And I think he does as well. Even how we come to scenes is actually very interesting because, I mean, I have a education in theatre. He does not. He's learnt on the job. But a lot of the tricks you pick up, a lot of them are the same. I may have a acting school vocabulary for it.
It's like theory and practical.
But it comes to the same thing. And he's learned these tricks by constantly working with new people, picking things up from people. So I think that way it's interesting. He may not know what it's called, which I would, with the theatre school.
With the vocabulary.
Yeah, I would have the vocabulary for it, but we're essentially doing the same thing.
But you are playing 2 games at the same time.
Ji.
One theatre where it's pure rehearsals, and there is a complete sync by the time you go on stage.
Ji.
And simultaneously, you're also doing movies now. One with Sai Pallavi, one with Khushi,
Ji.
and a lot more to come ahead.
Hopefully.
So, वो तो एक है rehearsals. अब इसमें उल्टा है. आप सब कुछ ready है. Your emotion is built up. You're ready to go. Suddenly, your makeup man will come and try to, do your hair, or somebody will come and say, "Wait, 10 degrees और adjust करना है." Disruptions. So, how do you deal with this, switch?
Yeah, I think that was maintaining focus on a film set for me was a challenge in the beginning. It took some getting used to. But even the films I've done, we've done a fair bit of rehearsals actually. Maharaj was very heavily rehearsed. We also had the luxury of time. Even this film now with Khushi, Loveyapa, it's interesting because actually we have very few scenes together in the sense where we're in the same space. Most of it happens over the phone.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
So those scenes you really have to rehearse, because when you shoot them, you're shooting them fully differently.
Yeah.
So you won't get the play unless you get that play in rehearsals. So we rehearsed a fair bit for that as well, for this. And even with Sai and for Ek Din, we had, in fact, we'd gone to Chennai for a week. Dadi was also there. She was going through her treatment over there. And we spent about a week, 10 days rehearsing before our schedule started.
Let's talk about Sai and Khushi.
Ji.
How different are they from each other?
I think Khushi that way is also... Khushi also loves rehearsing. She is very craft heavy. So I think that worked out well. Sai actually is the exact opposite. She relies very strongly on instinct. So actually, even when we were rehearsing, she was a bit nervous about it. She's like, I've actually never worked like this before.
One spontaneous actor and one...
We were like, don't worry about it. I have always found rehearsals to be places to explore. So it's not like you're doing the same thing over and over again. It's like you're trying to find new things. You can't do it sitting down discussing. You have to do it on its feet. So you can do a scene and then you can try different things. You can try different motivations. You can... So I've always found rehearsals more to kind of build something. In fact, in theatre school, we had this acting teacher who used to make us do this exercise. Say you're rehearsing a scene for 2 weeks. Halfway through, she would be like, okay, now, next time when you do the scene, she would give both the actors in the scene a water pistol. So now, everything you do, every beat that you have to take it differently. And if your partner feels you're not taking it differently, they get to squirt you with a water pistol. So it just gives you can start looking at things in a way that you wouldn't have thought of before. And it may not necessarily be right, but when you explore, you find new things, and some of them will be right, and some of them won't be right, which you can then discard.